Hello, and welcome to another episode of The End of the Search. I call it, In the Absence of Fear, What Remains? Such a simple answer to that question, which is what I refer to as the answer, no answer. And when there is no fear, what remains is this. Exactly. It's not that things will go in a particular way necessarily, or that thoughts will not be there. It's that when there's no judgment, meaning fear, meaning not believing the content of the mind, what remains is this. And this is what I've always been. And that this I'm pointing to is what is referred to as the peace that surpasses all understanding. So if this is so obvious, literally so simple, why is so overlooked? Because as long as I believe that I am this separate entity, meaning as long as I hold on to an identity, every thought has something to attach to, and everything is about, quote unquote, me. I am the good person, I am the bad person. I am this, I am that. And everything that is happening according to how either benefit me or doesn't benefit me, it's all about me. But what we're pointing to here is about the fact that you are. And the R has nothing to do with a me-ness. It has nothing to do with a little person that supposedly have an identity, and this is my name, this is who I am, this is what I do for a living, this is what I want, this is what I don't want. No, it has to do with the fact that I am. And because the I am is the dissolution of the sense of identity, although we say, I want peace, I want liberation, or whatever the case may be, who is the one that is saying, I want peace and I want liberation? You are already freedom. You are already liberation. So who would be the one that wants freedom or liberation? The one that feels that is trapped. And the one that feels that is trapped is a thought, is an identity. This is who I am. I feel constricted. I feel limited. And the way we point to in these videos, I said we, I don't know why, but the way it's pointed in these videos is not so much about trying to get the person to become free. You see, it's simpler than that. What happens right now if you don't believe the thoughts? Even the thought that says, I am this person listening to this video. I am feeling this way. This should or should not be like this. Life is or life is not. It doesn't matter. This is what I want. This is what I don't want. These are just thoughts. Have you noticed that? When these thoughts are seen and not believed in, what remains? You see, the remain is not an answer. The remains is what is. And what is has no fear. What is has no concerns, no worries. What is not thinking in terms of past or future. What is simply is. And that isness, which is what these videos are pointing to, is a peace that surpasses all understanding in spite of what may be happening on the surface. Meaning in spite of what thoughts may be crossing consciousness that are trying to get protagonism. See? That's why these videos are pointing to what always is. It's not about solving problems. Who would be having the problems? The problems seems to be for the individual. But if there are no individual, then what is left? What is left is what is. And yes, life unfolds as it has always been unfolding, and it will continue to unfold as it has always been. Have you noticed that throughout the journey called your life, problems has arrived and somehow solutions also arrived as well? either because they solve themselves or you found yourself doing something. But all of that is just life happening. The difference is that when you believe you're this separate entity and you want to take ownership or authorship, I did that or whatever, then you carry either the pride of what I did or the guilt of what you think you should not have done. But that is just life unfolding, that from the perspective of the individual may seem as if I did or I shouldn't have done. But from the perspective, which is not a perspective per se, because there's no center point, but from this openness we're speaking from, then life is unfolding. A video is being filmed right now. But I am not filming the video. This is just what seems to be happening. In the same way that life will unfold as it will, and whatever happens, happens, but I remain as I am. These videos are pointing to the fact that I am. This is what this is all about. That's it. There's nothing else to do or to figure out or to attain or to, I don't know, achieve nothing. And this is the freedom in which you're resting right now, and for that matter always, until you believe a thought, beginning with the thought, I am this individual, who now is believing the thoughts that are judging their present experience. So we are literally undoing a structured thought system. And the way that is undone is not by trying to undo it, because then there's still a sense of me undoing something. The way it is undone is by not believing in it. Remembering that not believing in it also includes not believing in the one that thinks that is not believing in it, which is what is right now. I was talking to a friend yesterday who was dealing with a lot of challenges with his family. And after the conversation, went along, I pointed out that the only problem you're having is that you're identifying with what the mind is telling you about the situation. And then he got to a point that he says, I feel like I am zero, like in zero. And I said, wonderful. Isn't it great? How do you feel being in zero? Where you're not identified with all these thoughts about this should be or shouldn't be, what my family, what it's like to be at zero. Well, you are always at zero. Actually, you should call this video like that, you're always at zero. Yeah, maybe I want to call it that way. Let's see. You see? You're always at zero because that's your nature. Beingness is zero. But then we begin to add to that zero thoughts, concepts, and then zero is overlooked, and what I'm left with, not left with, but I carry is all the thoughts that I'm believing in. So then he said, yeah, I'm at zero right now, but then the thoughts will come again. Well, that's the point. The point is give yourself more time to be at zero rather than letting the conditioning tell you what's going to happen later. You see, it's a habit. So used to identify with its mind that he says, I know what's going to happen later. How about if we just simply give ourselves more opportunities to be at zero? And how do we do so? Well, like I said again, if you don't believe the content of the mind, you're at zero. In the meantime, just from the moment you wake up in the morning, life is unfolding, and you notice how there's identification with the content of the mind. So you remember again that nothing means anything, I am. You rest in the I am, which is what Nisargadatta Mahara was pointing all the time. You rest in I am. This is practically what he was saying. All he was saying, you just rest in I am. You don't have to do anything else. And always remember, these videos are paradoxical. I'm suggesting that you rest in I am, but you will not rest in I am because I'm saying so. You rest in I am because it's what you're supposed to do. And many people don't even have to rest in I am, and all of a sudden this, awareness happens. It doesn't matter. All I know is that right now it seems as though I'm making a video, and it seems as though you're watching the video, and it seems as though instructions are being given, and it seems as though you may be able to quote-unquote choose, be open to that invitation. I don't know. Why would life has you and me interacting in this way, for no reason whatsoever? Well, nothing, everything is for no reason whatsoever, but within this context, why would this happen? Would make no sense. So we can say that at some point, at some level, there's no levels, but again, I don't know what words to use, life is using this interaction to remind itself that it's life and not a separate individual, not separate identity. Is that zero, you see, where all the weight is taken off your shoulder. And the mind goes, if I rest at zero, then I will not be able to function in this world. No, because again, I said it, I'll reiterate, you're not functioning in the world. Functioning happens through you. So actions will happen if actions are supposed to happen. And actions will not happen if there's no supposed to happen. The difference is that when you're taking action and the mind is telling you this action is the wrong one or you shouldn't do this, you feel bad about it. And if you're not taking action and the mind now is telling you you should take action, you're still feeling bad about it. But how about if you simply are right now? Put it to the test today. Just notice how your life is going to unfold as it's going to unfold anyway. And you're going to do whatever you're going to do anyway. Whether you say you don't want to, it doesn't matter. Life is unfolding. But you remain as you are, you remain as zero, so to speak. And this is the invitation. That's why these videos are very simple, because we're not trying to figure anything out. The figuring out is for the mind, for the conceptual mind. But the you that I'm speaking of doesn't need to figure anything out. You simply are. You're simply being. And right now, this is the fact. This is not esoteric. Right now, can you say you're not? Can you say you don't exist? Can you say you're not alive? Now, don't try to color it with any other concepts. I'm just talking about the simplicity right now. Can you say you are not? Can you say you're not being? You're always being. You can never not be. Now notice the thoughts trying to color. I am being what? I'm being this person who's now trying to be. No, you are being. Beingness. And in beingness, again, notice how life unfolds. Because it's doing it anyway. This is the point. Hopefully this will get to a point where you realize, oh my God, this is it. Life is. Life is going to unfold as it's supposed to, not according to your will, not according to your ideas. It's simply unfolding anyway. The question is, as life is unfolding, are you believing the content of the mind that is trying to translate every unfoldment, or you simply being the witness of the unfoldment? One leads to peace, which is what you're resting in, and the other one leads to concern, worry, fear, and everything you can possibly think of. So right now, you're being, you see? This is it. This is all there is. Nothing else. The question is, can you trust life? Can you trust that life is doing what it's doing? But again, in order for you to do so, or for that to take place, you have to let go of every expectations and ideas of how you think life should be. Yeah, but I want this, I want that, I want to do this. Just let it be. I have thoughts that come through me about possibilities in my life. Sure, they come up. They're seen. Because I know that if those possibilities are supposed to happen, life will move this instrument or this body or this image or whatever you want to call it, this quote-unquote me. It'll move it to take action in order for that particular fantasy, if you want to use that word or thought or idea, happens. If it doesn't happen, it wasn't meant to be. You see? A lot of people are in suffering thinking, I could have done, I should have done. No, you could not have done anything, or you should not have done anything. Everything happened the way it's supposed to happen to lead you where you are right now, to see if the lesson has been learned. And the lesson is always the same. Are you going to believe the content of the mind or not? That's the only lesson to be learned, because if you don't believe the content of the mind, you rest in the peace that surpasses all understanding. By believing the content of the mind that is telling you I should have done or shouldn't have done, my life could have gone or whatever, believing the content of the mind is what's creating the suffering you're experiencing right now. And now the mind tells you, well, you should have done, or now you could do, or you can rest in beingness, remembering that I am, and then you go back again to the peace that surpasses all understanding, and who cares what might have or might not have happened, because all of that was just part of a seeming journey that led you to finally come to the realization that you're not that body, that separate entity that supposedly is here to do things or not to do things. No, you simply are. When that is treasured, when that zero is treasured, you're free. Whether you accomplished whatever you thought you wanted to accomplish, or whether you didn't accomplish anything you thought you wanted to accomplish, who cares? You're free. You see? These videos are reminders of the freedom in which you rest, that you've been overlooked, that has been overlooked, but how life should be. By now I should have been married, should have had children, should have had a family, I should have had a particular career. No, by now it's irrelevant. All that there is right now, this moment, and if there's no identification with the content of the mind, there is peace. If there's identification with the content of the mind, there's going to be suffering. You see? And the invitation here is not to be lazy. You cannot become lazy because you're not in charge of your life. It's to remind you there's another way of living this seeming experience with a mind that is not of it, so at least you can experience that peace, that joy, that happiness that is what you are, have always been, and will always be, no matter what. Because the light will always keep on shining. Even if you put a veil on top of it, the veil may cover it, but that doesn't mean that it can puts it out. Because the light, all it knows what to do is to illuminate. Well, you are that light right now. In other words, let's use another word. You are that peace. And the peace is there, is the background, is there. It could be overlooked by thoughts and feelings, sensations that are basically thoughts takes those feelings, sensations, and whatever, and interprets them. It may be overlooked by an interpretation, but it's never gone. So the invitation is just rest in that. Right now, if you don't believe the content of the mind, there you go, that's it. And nurture it. As I said to this friend of mine, I said, just go to the park. Take time to be. Not let the mind be engaged with activities to try to keep itself busy. Nurture it. I even said, go to a church. Churches are perfect places to sit in silence. It's beautiful. I love it. When I go walk to places and I see old churches, I go in there. It's not about religion, it's about just being in that space that is creating that atmosphere for quietness. And of course, that same space, I have it right now. I don't have to go to a particular building to do that. Right now, I am in that space. And you are in that space, because there's not a space in a say, is what it is. Right now, we both are sharing that space. Even if you're in the midst of a very busy traffic jam, or you walk in the middle of downtown, you are always that church. So you don't have to go to a specific building. It's just something that I suggested to him because he's very in the mind, and maybe he could use a little help, When he's at home, he's too busy dealing with the family, and then he's busy watching television and everything. So it was just a suggestion, Give yourself more walks on the park, so that the park can reflect, a forest, or it doesn't matter, but those places where there's quietude is the word, I guess, I don't know. Silence is reflecting back at you the silence that is within you, you see? And then you can bring that silence into everything. In the middle of downtown traffic jams and the middle of a lot of noise, you're bringing the silence, because you are that silence, you see? Well, these videos are pointing to that, to what is. Right now, you are being that silence. Right now, right this moment. It's just that there's so used to identify with the content of the mind that you think, I cannot be silenced, my mind is going crazy. No, let it go crazy. Don't try to stop it. That's what makes you go crazy. Just let it be. Okay, right now the mind has to go crazy. This is what's happening right now. Don't even label it anything, just is what it is. And you'll notice, as always, that too shall pass, because everything does pass. I'm not sitting here saying that my mind never have thoughts of any, or that I always have a really great sleep. So no, I just simply say that life is unfolding right now. This is what it is. And I just see how the scenes begin to unfold. I mean, how they show up. And as the scene shows up, if I don't project any meaning onto it, it's just another scene. Some may seem to be pleasant, some may not seem to be that pleasant, but if you don't label it anything, if I don't label it anything, they're not pleasant nor unpleasant, they're just simply what is. And life is a huge what is. Not what if, I said what is, it's just what is. Everything is as it is. And you are what you are, which cannot be defined, cannot be described, it simply is. These videos are pointing to the obviousness of what is that is simply overlooked by the content of the mind. We're not controlling the mind. We're not suppressing the mind. We're just simply learning to look. Look is a quiet observing, is a witnessing, so to speak. And again, it's not a me observing the thought, but again, the limitation of language, that's as far as I can go with speaking, you see. Technically speaking, there's nothing to say. The best thing to do is silence. Right now, if you don't believe the content of the mind, let the thoughts be there. If you don't believe in them right now, I just want you to notice. I'm not asking you, I'm simply notice. Notice what is right now, what is. Well, that isness is what remains always. And as you walk through life and do whatever you do, you're always resting in that isness. And the invitation here is to notice it, to recognize it. And when you find yourself identified with the content of the mind, at least now you know, because you have given yourself enough time to have a relation with that isness, which is you anyway. So when something comes up that seems to be an obstruction or a distraction to that isness, you can now look at it and then go back again and you rest as you are. You see? And that's all there is. There's nothing else I have to say. So I hope this served, and as always, may peace permeate the mind so that love can become evident.